Hey guys, it's another reaction video. This time we're going to be taking a look at an Andy Pants gaming video about Halo Campaign Evolved. Let's get right into it.
Halo used to be heroic, masculine, right-wing, pro-military, pro-America. Now it's fucking gay and worked on by theater kids. Campaign Evolved is so bad you have the level designer from Halo 3 saying stuff like this. The Halo devs have apparently decided that the majority of Marines should now be women.
Yeah, I'm fine with occasionally seeing a woman Marine, whatever, but we're starting to enter Clown World territory here. And honestly, yeah, it is the case. We got them in the majority now, and they don't even look appealing at all. You know, see, this is exactly why this is exactly why you know this is exactly why we'll never get a good Halo game, because these people keep thinking that this is exactly what Halo is supposed to be, and it's not. You know, shout out to Now Sankey on Twitter for this, but you know, Halo is supposed to be about Halo. You know, the Halo rings, the Covenant, the Flood, Master Chief, Cortana, all the good shit. Not all this nonsense.
I'm fine with occasionally seeing a woman Marine, whatever, but we're starting to enter clown world.
Oh yeah. Here's something to keep you awake at night. I want y'all to do me a favor. I want y'all to go look up. I want y'all to go compare this to Abby from The Last of Us Part 2. You will never unsee the nightmares. Now you have nightmare fuel you'll never get rid of. It'll never leave your mind. I saw it and I couldn't unsee it. It's like Abby all over again.
Territory here. For Campaign Evolved, which is a remaster of Halo 1, 343 thought it was a good idea to add 3 missions to the beginning of the game, centering around this dog-ugly Boldyke as she one-ups Chief.
Not bad, Spartan. I'm almost starting to believe the propaganda.
I mean, and I get it, like, there's definitely been a lot of propaganda throughout the Halo universe, but, like, being flat-out disrespectful to Master Chief, like, he didn't just save the world, like, he's not saving the world's bacon, is crazy. Like, what has that girl boss Marine ever done in the game besides being nothing but a nuisance?
Bro, it's like they watched my video about Chief being a disabled trans girl boss and thought I was pitching an idea for a new Halo. Anyway, so what I've been doing the past week is going back and playing the first 3 Halo games, and what stuck with me was number 1, how pro-military and right-wing these games were, number 2, how much these games focused on religion, and number 3, how the entire lore of the original games was...
Exactly. For number 1, of course, it's pretty obvious, because you have all this military hardware, you have Sergeant Johnson, you know, being the source of inspiration for kicking Covenant butt out on the battlefield. You know, nothing but patriotism. You got patriotism for number 1, and it's based, absolutely based. You have a bunch of biblical references. You know, a lot. The Ark, the Flood. What else is there? I forgot. What else? Because there's a lot of things. But the Flood and the Ark definitely stand out to me. You know, if you know, you know, man. I mean, and then there's the Covenant and stuff with their own ideology trying to annihilate everything based off of the rings supposedly being sacred and needing to be activated for divine salvation. Yeah. They're speed running themselves to straight up hell doing that. But regardless, you know, you got all that shit. And then you got the destruction of Halo lore, which is absolutely on point. You know, ever since Halo 4, it's been nothing but problems. You know, Halo 4 is where the destruction started. Halo Campaign Evolved is where it just basically killed the entire franchise. I mean, for us, the franchise was already dead as soon as Halo, as far back as Halo 4.
thrown away with Halo 4. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. Old school Halo would make your average little liberal soy cuck today piss their pants.
Exactly.
Get gone from me, you soy boy beta cuck.
Legendary mode on Halo Combat Evolved would filter all these pussies.
Oh yeah, it absolutely would. Look, don't get me wrong. Legendary on Halo Reach and Halo 2 were outright brutal. I'm not even sure which one was worse, but honestly, if I had to pick one, I think Halo 2 with the Jackal Snipers. Oh my lord, I hated the Jackal Snipers. But there were times where I just given up. But you know what? I went back to it, because I have the Master Chief Collection, and I completed Halo Reach and Halo 2, both on Legendary. And I'm honestly proud of myself, and I thank the Lord that I was even able to do that. It's just so sad how people have become, how we have a so-called modern audience that can't take any kind of challenge in a video game.
If that didn't get rid of them, we would troll the shit out of their mom in our Halo lobbies.
Yep.
Fucking riot shield. What else do riot shield. I'm a pussy that use riot shield.
So what changed? And it's simple. Halo has been hijacked by pronoun people. It's been hijacked people.
Absolutely. I mean, I rarely ever use a riot shield in any Call of Duty game unless I'm intentionally trying to piss people off. It just doesn't feel good using one. Not because it's cheaty, but rather just because it's more of a nuisance than actually helpful. Because you still have blind spots. It's way too easy to be annihilated. It's not that easy to use a riot shield, believe me. It's not that simple. You can easily be annihilated. I mean, you could get a few cheap kills, but once people really start wailing you, it's over. It's really over. So, I never used the riot shield. Well, no. Of course I used the riot shield. What the fuck? I just said I did. Oh, I used the riot shield, but not that often. In fact, very rarely. Most of the time, I usually use it for defense, for playing defense. Specifically guarding objective, playing the objective and stuff, protecting, stuff that riot shield should be used for. Not sitting in a friggin' corner and hoping to God that you don't run out of ammo.
To talk about racism and misogyny.
Yeah.
You can see this in the people who work on Halo now.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who hates guns working on Halo.
Exactly. How do you hate firearms and work on a first-person shooter? You know what? You need to quit your job and find something else to do.
Here's a dude who is a Fruit Loop working on Halo. Here's a black woman who was the chief of Halo.
Yeah, in fact,
Here's a dude who is a...
Let's see. Pushing for more human rights for your fellow Americans. What? Yeah, of course. Americans. You folks don't care anything about America unless it's for y'all benefit.
Fruit Loop working on Halo. Here's a black woman who was the chief of staff of Halo at one point.
Yeah.
And you see this showing up in the game itself now. The original Halo games were heroic and pro-military. Now you have...
Exactly. And they showed you that sacrifice was important. What were you willing to sacrifice to protect your country and the world as we know it? Chief sacrificed a lot. And he's still resting easy on the Forward Unto Dawn with Cortana in tow. That's all that matters. It's finished. They could kill Halo all they like. I mean, they already did anyway with Campaign Evolved. So they can finish destroying and utterly annihilating what's left of the remains. But the fight's finished. It's been finished since Halo 3. Well, actually, Halo Reach. Since, Halo 3, chronologically. It's finished. Rest easy, Master Chief.
And everybody questioning whether Chief is even the good guy or not.
Yep.
I thought you'd be taller.
343 Studios or Halo Studios, nobody gives a fuck. Whatever they're called now, they obviously hate Master Chief and they hate everything he stood for in the original games.
Exactly.
Never has there been a worse downfall from OG Bungie to 343 Halo Studios.
Exactly.
Bro, back in the day, Bungie, without having social media or anything, was obsessed with their game and wanted to make fans happy. It's simple.
Exactly. They were nerds. They were dedicated with what they were doing. And that's not a bad thing. They actually beat themselves up because they wanted to make great games for the fans. for people who love them. The games were made by nerds back then. Nowadays, games are either made by people who actually know what they're doing, specifically in the indie space, or complete idiots who would rather push a narrative than make games that are actually worth playing and buying and
Halo
playing.
CE launched in 2001, and it had single-player, co-op, and multiplayer on launch, all on one disc, big dog. And it cost like $50 million to make. The virgins and beta males who made Halo Infinite, the game cost $400 million.
$400 million, and it wasn't even that good. Yep, it wasn't even that good for how much it cost to make that game. Wasn't even that good. What do you know, man?
And all they could do on launch was a wet fart single-player campaign. But don't worry, the Pride armor, the Women's Day armor, the...
Oh, yeah. Yep. Let me guess, the Black History Month armor,
Black History Month.
Yep, got it. Yep. The ridiculous Spartan armor that you never saw Spartans wearing during a time where the stakes were very high. This is how it begins. This is how it begins. This is how they do shit. They sneak this stuff in, or they just shove this stuff in, expect us to deal with it, and when we don't buy these games and don't support them, then they want to start hollering and hooping all over social media and you know, and have outlets like Kotaku and stuff, you know, raise sand over you know, their narrative not being accepted. Funny how that works, isn't it?
Armor, we're all right on time. Like, have you ever thought about that? Why do these gay-ass studios have to delay their game, but they never delay Pride armor? They never delay gay-ass Black History Month armor.
Exactly.
They're just soft, dude. It's a bunch of soft, virgin, incel men who wear dresses fucking working on Halo now. It used to be military-based chads, and now it's homos making this game. So anyway, boys, let's get into the main topic of this video because, like I said, I replayed the first 3 Halo games, and I want to go into 3 major points about exactly why the Halo games are so bad now. Number 1, the original Halo games made you feel like a hero.
Exactly. You were carrying the world on your goddamn shoulders. You were making as many sacrifices as humanly possible to ensure that, you know, the world was still there tomorrow. Even if it didn't seem feasible. Even if it seemed impossible. The key point is that Master Chief made the impossible possible. You know, it didn't matter to him whether a situation was completely impossible or unfeasible. He made it possible, regardless of the outcome. And he knew the risks, but he still decided to fight. You know, it makes you feel like a hero.
343 turned Master Chief into a cuck, a simp, and a morally gray bad guy.
Exactly.
2, the original Halo games were primarily military engagement video games.
Exactly. Everywhere you go, you see soldiers and stuff. You know, Marines doing things what needed to be done. You know, every time you as Master Chief approached Marines and ODSTs and whatnot, the morale boosted. You know, they were happy to see you. You were a badass in armor, you know, trying to save the world and stuff. And this just bleeds right into it. Because it's all about firepower. Especially Sergeant Johnson's inspirational speeches. Reminds you of Full Metal Jacket in a way. It's awesome. Shooting big guns are awesome. Shooting guns at enemies are awesome. That's what it was supposed to be. You get to drive tanks and shoot them at things and shoot Covenant with them. You get to drive the Warhawk and have your buddies or even Marines man the gun and stuff and ride shotgun. You also got to drive other vehicles as well and use them use them as much as you could. You know, unfortunately though, it seems that 343 and the like, they seem to have forgotten they seem to have just No, they didn't. You know what? They didn't forget. They just didn't care what Halo was supposed to be. Well, actually, what it used to be. They just wanted to completely annihilate it to fit people who obviously do not qualify for the level of awesomeness that OG Halo had with it, and that Bungie put into OG Halo. They don't qualify. They just hired people who hated Halo because they wanted to destroy it and make it in their own image.
343 games are practically anti-military games and completely get away from the series' roots.
Exactly.
Number 3, Halo has always been a deeply religious game. The 343 game stripped all the religious stuff out, and it doesn't feel like a Halo anymore. So let's get into it. One final caveat here. When I talk about the good Halos, I'm referring to everything up to including Halo Reach. When I talk about the bad Halos, I'm talking about Halo 4, Halo 5, Halo Infinite, and this new Dogwater Campaign Evolve thing. Replaying Halo 1, Halo 2, and Halo 3 again, I realized what made these games so powerful, and it's the feeling of being the hero. You are Spartan John 117, a Christian reference to the Bible, by the way. You are a super soldier created by humanity to save them. Nobody can do what you do. You are humanity's greatest warrior. And Marty O'Donnell's legendary soundtrack specifically leans into this feeling. I think of the Forward Unto Dawn towering over you in the sky and dropping off tanks in Halo 3. I think of running headfirst into battle in Halo Reach. I think of mounting a final offensive in Halo 2. The developers at Bungie were simply Chads. They were actually men. They cared about things like heroism and not being a little trans troony beta cuck. Jump over to 343 Industries and you see grown men showing up to work in dresses. They're evil, they're demonic, they have mental illnesses. And of course, you see this come across in their games. Halo 4 opens with Dr. Halsey essentially being called a war criminal for making the Spartans. Halsey is first mentioned in the book from 2001, but never shows up in the early game.
Exactly. And, like, I understand, you know, what Halsey did is kind of messed up. But it was either that or the humans lost or the humans ended up losing. You know, the Spartans had a specific purpose, you know, and shit was getting rough. So something had to be done. You know, sometimes you got to get your hands dirty to keep the world clean, like I always say. Like Captain Price said, you know, get your hands dirty, keep the world clean. You know, sometimes you got to do messed up shit. That's how it works,
in Halo Reach. Reach never treated Halsey as a war criminal, but rather somebody who made hard decisions to save humanity. So again, the cuckening of Halo.
And just like Cortana, she was a little bit snarky. I'm not gonna lie. This might sound diabolical, but Halsey, Halsey, she don't look like she aged a bit. She looked like she haven't aged a bit.
4-3 is attacking their own main character.
Yep.
But it gets worse. Most of Halo 4 is just Chief simping for Cortana.
Yeah.
He has no real mission anymore. They're just trying to get back to Earth, and then they accidentally open a Forerunner artifact and out pops the Didact. The last thing Chief says in Halo...
that Voldemort looking ass Forerunner.
3 is wake me when you need me.
Wake me when you need me.
To me, this implies that Chief should be kept in cryosleep until there is a clear mission for him. And that never actually happened in Halo 4. What was your mission? Get back to...
Exactly. Like, they literally just made they just made up an excuse for him to just get out. So they made up a whole cacophony of... They made up a whole goddamn concoction of ridiculousness just so he can get out of his, cryosleep. You know, just to push a narrative. Like, bro, he said, wake me when you need me. Not wake me beforehand. Not wake me when it's something completely insignificant. Like, in fact, the only reason that Cortana awoke in Chief was because she seemed to be lonely. I mean, I get it. You want someone to talk to, but, like, the situation, you're supposed to be waking him up when the situation calls for it, not because you're lonely.
Earth, fart around on some alien planet and talk to the Didact with his boring new enemy type they made? It's obvious Halo 4 was made by retards and pronoun people, but it gets even worse. The first time Chief runs into other Spartans, we get this embarrassing interaction.
Yep.
I thought you'd be taller.
Just in case you wanted more...
Tried a joke and it failed automatically. Like, utterly failed.
Things to cringe about in Halo 4, I read online that the Didact is a metaphor for imperial dominance, racial supremacy, and forced assimilation.
Oh my lord, what do you know? They were telling on themselves.
Because all the creators of Halo 4 are gay and woke, you can 100% assume they are talking about white people in America. Yep. But wait, guys, the UNSC is definitely meant to be a metaphor for America in the first 5 Halo games, and in those games, we are the good guys. So which is it? Again, 343 is so confused and retarded because they made America the good guys in the first 5 Halo games, and now suddenly America are the bad guys.
Yeah, they're trying to destroy, like we said before, they're trying to destroy, you know, the good guy, the whole good guys thing in the first 5 Halo games because they don't like that that's what they portray the United States as. You know, I mean, no one ever said that the United States government were good guys. However, like, this is a whole video game, and they took, you know, the United States being depicted as good guys, which the UNSC, if I'm not mistaken, are basically every military in the world that aligned to create an entire one military force, basically. You know, something like that. And here, you know, this is a symbol. And here it seems it's a symbol of patriotism in America, right? Of American patriotism. However, 343 and other folks want to completely eradicate that and try to depict the United States, the U.S., as the bad guys because it fits their narrative. That's disgusting. Why would you completely destroy something that a bunch of developers, awesome developers, worked so hard for? You should be continuing their work, not desecrating and destroying it to force your own onto it.
The final thing I hate about Halo 4 is, of course, that they completely changed the lore. In Halo 3, there's a moment where 343 Guilty Spark looks at Chief and says something to the effect of, "You are the Forerunner."
You are the Forerunner.
Implying that humans are the Forerunners and that they are not actually a separate race. And then if you look at all the Bungie lore dumps and old videos, you find out, yes, Bungie intended humans to be the original Forerunners. And that would have been super interesting because on the one hand, the Covenant are against the humans and fighting the humans, but then they're finding out, oh wait, the humans are also the Forerunners we've been searching for, and the Prophet of Truth is hiding all this stuff from them. And it would have been a very cool plot device to have used in the later Halo games. But of course, 343 had to retcon all of this. They tossed out all of Bungie's lore, and they said, no, we're going to make the Forerunners a completely different race that look like Voldemort. So yeah, one of the biggest reasons Halo 4 is trash is just because they threw out all of Bungie's lore, and they made the Forerunners this separate race, and nobody wanted that. Material. And the 343 games are just dog shit. Anyway, moving on. The Halo games are primarily games about military conflicts. They're not necessarily only about Chief. The original ship attacked in Halo 1 was the Pillar of Autumn, a military ship. You do reconnaissance for the military the entire game. Halo 2 opens with the Chief being awarded medals for his service. He is a war hero. Halo 3 ends over a patriotic speech as we see a memorial to all the fallen soldiers in the game. Halo Reach is primarily about the bravery and dedication of 6 Spartans as they gave their lives to stop the fall of Reach. The original Halo games are unabashedly pro-military, and as we know, the military makes leftists, libcucks, and troons seethe. But moving on, we know that the military framing in the good Halo games is the perfect foil for Master Chief. The UNSC soldiers and all the military stuff in the Halo games have always grounded these games and made them feel more real than Pixels were able to. Because the 343 games were made by feminists and gay men who think the military is icky, it's obvious that the military's role got severely downgraded in the 343 games. So in summary, the later Halo games do not feel like Halo to me because they massively downgraded the military conflict aspect of all this. Halo 4 is about having retarded and esoteric conversations with the didact. It's boring as hell. Halo 5 is about Cortana becoming the bad guy and you fight this gay loser called Warden Eternal. In Halo Infinite, you fight a bunch of brutes called the Banished, and these guys are so boring that I can't tell them apart. Do you want to know why the 343 games don't feel like Halo? It's because the war against the Covenant and then the war against the Flood are the primary plot device in the good Halo games. Yes. The later games were such retarded failures because they got away from being about a military conflict.
Yep.
All right, my final point. Number 3, Halo has always been about religion. Is there anything that Reddit, atheists, and pronoun people hate more than religion? And this explains why the 343 games have almost all of the religious content taken out, because leftists find religion icky. But the truth is that Halo 1, 2, and 3 are deeply focused on faith and religious belief. Halo 1...
Exactly. And that's why they want to get rid of it, because then they could go and say, well, Halo has never been religious. You're just delusional. That's why they want to get rid of it. So that way they can present to the fake fans, you know, the modern audience that fucking Halo has never been religious when it actually was. You know, they always want to do that's their whole plan, is to destroy everything and rewrite it, to preach their narrative.
Opens with a choir singing, the prophet of mercy, the prophet of truth, the prophet of regret, all biblical concepts. John 1:17 is a Bible reference. The Covenant is a Bible reference. The Flood, also a Bible reference. Marty O'Donnell indicated that the original name for the Covenant was the Dervish, which would have been a direct reference to Islam. So if you look at the original Halo trilogy, it is clear that these games are about religious fanaticism versus America. The UNSC represents the USA, and the Covenant represents the Middle East conflict. The Prophet of Truth is clearly a jihadist.
My feet tread the...
And you know what? That makes a lot of goddamn sense. I knew something was like, there was more to it, but that makes a lot of sense.
I shall become a god!
The whole idea of activating the Halo ring is a metaphor for suicide and these lunatics sacrificing themselves for Allah. The Halo ring is essentially a way to commit suicide by wiping out all life in the universe and going on the, quote, great journey. But over the course of Halo 2, you see the Arbiter's metamorphosis from a true believer to somebody who actively questions his religion. You could say over the course of the first 3 Halo games, the Arbiter goes from a radical Muslim to a moderate Muslim who doesn't believe religious suicide is the answer anymore. This is why the Chief and Arbiter are able to team up and take down the Prophet of Truth and prevent the annihilation of the universe by these religious fanatics. So it's not true to say that Christianity is fighting the Covenant in the Halo games, but what is clear is the Human Covenant War is 100% a metaphor for the Iraq War, which is the conflict our country was engaged in at the time. Another interesting thing here is that Master Chief's name is John 1:17. In the Bible, the verse John 1:17 reads as follows: "For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ." Yes. Master Chief is what is known as a, quote, type of Christ. He does what humanity is not capable of doing. He is the ultimate soldier, the ultimate man.
He makes the impossible possible. Exactly.
And the ultimate Giga Chad. In the same way Chief saves humanity from suicidal jihadist Islam, Jesus Christ saves humanity from their sins by dying in their place. So it's easy to see why all religious content was removed from Halo 4, Halo 5, and Infinite. And this is yet another reason why Halo 4, 5, and Infinite do not feel like Halo games. Halo has always been deeply religious and deeply steeped in metaphor. So what did the woke retards at 343 do instead of the religion? They basically brought in a bunch of boring lore from the books and talked about that instead. Nobody cares about Warden Eternal. Nobody cares about the Didact. But because woke leftists are completely detached from reality, they thought somebody would give a shit about these characters, and we never did. The only hint at Halo 4 and 5 being a metaphor, like I said earlier, is that number one, Chief is the bad guy now because Halsey kidnapped him from his parents and made him a child soldier and therefore bad. Number two, people like the Didact are white colonizers, and to update the language, they would probably call him a fascist today.
Yep.
I mean, these lunatics think the Didact represents America, probably. So boys, in closing, is it any wonder everybody freaking hates Halo now? The original Halo games were deeply Christian, deeply religious. They were essentially military games about the military, and Chief was the ultimate hero. 343 and Halo Studios games are dog shit. They're completely anti-religion and anti-faith. They are anti-American, and they somehow make Chief the bad guy. One final note about that, I'm sure people will say, oh, well, the Spartan program was mentioned in the book in 2001, so it's always been there. To that, I would say yes, but do you seriously think that OG Bungie would have made Chief the, quote, bad guy, or the Spartan program responsible for, quote, war crimes? Get out of here. Also, Bungie made it clear that the games are canon and the books are not canon. The games always took precedence over the books. But anyway, in closing, the whole reason Halo works as a game is because morality is so black and white. And I think that you will find in real life, morality is still very black and white. Woke people and pronoun people are evil satanic retards. They worship Satan. They are trash, and they represent the flood. The USA, Christians, and all of humanity who value life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are the UNSC. All right, boys, I'm going to get out of here.
All right. Well, you heard him. That's the video. I mean, yeah, all facts, man. You know, I'm starting to think we really didn't cherish what we had enough, because we just basically lost a great franchise behind people who are on board with, hating our country, but they're still living in it. They're still leeching off of it. And on top of it, they sure have no problem capitalizing off of making terrible games in our country, but when good developers are actually making great games, for some reason they have a problem with it. We know why, though. They don't like anything that has to do with America. They don't like American culture. They don't like the fact that people usually pay no mind to them. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, man. Well, let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think about this whole Halo Campaign Evolved situation? Colby, out.